but like Scott and I had a really good like rapport and really good back and forth. So for like a year after that, we're like, we should start a podcast, like two dudes, look at us, two white dudes, we got to start a podcast, Um, and we did it. And luckily, Scott had a huge YouTube channel. I had a very big following on my courses and on Twitter and slightly smaller YouTube. And between like the two of us, we sort of launched it with a bang because we had an existing audience we could push towards it.
That's awesome. Yeah, the existing audience, and I've noticed that even for Next Dev, it's like when someone else will push it out on their channel and stuff like that, because it's like the content is good, and watching some of the Syntax episodes, they're great. It's like I watched a couple of them and I was like, I can't remember which one I watched. It was recent though, but I was like, oh, I did not know that about whatever thing was talking about. And having that initial audience is a massive boost. Now, you guys are up in like the 600s of the episodes, right? The episode numbers, is that right? Or is it
almost 800, I think now? Let's see here. Almost 900, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. Quite a few. We were
crazy.
doing, like, we've been doing it for what, 7, almost 8 years. And we started with one a week. And then like, we just sold all the sponsorship spots like immediately. So we're like, let's just do another one. And then we sold all those sponsorship spots. So we're like, let's add a guest. A couple of years later, we added a guest spot. So we were doing 3 a week for, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years. We recently dialed it back to just 2 podcasts because we're doing a lot more like YouTube video. But yeah, it's quite a bit. We've talked a lot about things, and a lot of people say, hey, I've listened to every single one of them, and it's wild that they've listened to me yap for, I don't know, what is that? Probably
each one's like an hour, right?
The Mondays ones were like between 15 minutes to 25 minutes, and then the other 2 were an hour. So yeah, it's probably 600, 700 hours worth of content.
Quick algorithm to average all that. But going with right now, the most recent episode, 885, how do you keep coming up with content with that? Because I feel like you got to hit a plateau at some point, or do you just not? Do you just always come up with new ideas and stuff?
Oh man, like sometimes we have a list of 10 things we want to do episodes on. And then sometimes it's a little bit tricky to figure out what to do. More so, we have lots of ideas, simply just because like I'm very lucky that I love web development, and there's always something exciting for me to talk about. And then I'm also really lucky that we didn't pigeonhole the podcast into being like a JavaScript podcast or a Angular podcast or something like that, because there's only so much you can talk about those types of things. But like web development is pretty broad, right? And like we do soft skills as well, and we do a lot of we'll probably do a 3D printing one coming up as well. There's quite a bit of interesting things to talk about.
That's awesome. I myself am curious, throughout these years of yapping on Syntax, has your perspective changed, or your approach to learning or following the industry? I imagine having this perspective as a host at Syntax might show something new to you as somebody who is in the web dev space.
It certainly has made me less opinionated, because you get to see the industry evolve over the years. And I think that happens with every developer as they have been in the industry longer. I also like some of the smartest guests that we have on. I'm always amazed at how personable, and like we had the guy who created Swift on, Chris Latner. We just had the guy who created TypeScript on. We've had Ryan Dahl who created Node.js. And like every time we have one of these like killer guests, they're the most like like friendly, and they have the best explanations, and they're able to just like communicate so effectively. I'm like, like how's this guy the smartest person in the world and also or like very good at just small talk before we start recording, and that's always amazed me as well. That's where I want to be one day. I'm probably not going to be creating Swift, but uh, those guys are really smart, and their soft skills are really good as well.
Yeah, I mean, even here on like Next Dev, like reaching out to different people and meeting a bunch of different people with all their different backgrounds and stuff like that. It's always the smart ones who are just like off camera. They're just super, super nice. They're super kind and just generous. And it's like, it's so interesting because you would never see that normally. But when you just do it, when you just see a lot of people, it's like, that's an interesting perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be a brain bender right here. I'll preface this. Out of all of the Syntax FM episodes, which one has been your favorite?
Oh,
and I'll let you have internet access for this quiz, so you can look it up. There's got to be one.
The series of fundamentals episodes. So it's not specifically one, but over the years we've done 7 or 8 fundamentals episodes where we talk about fundamentals of JavaScript, the fundamentals of TypeScript, of CSS, of HTML, and then also like fundamentals of promises and error handling and things like that. And those ones do super well. So I'm very proud of those ones. And I think it's really good content. So yeah, I think I would probably say that if I were to guess.
Yeah, I can get behind that. Because do you think it's because that those videos have been so helpful is why mostly? Like they've been helpful to other people and you're like, okay, I find pride in that. Not pride, but
yeah.
You know what I mean.
And those ones also take the most amount of prep. So it's nice when you spend a lot of time prepping something and it does well versus like it's also easy to have something do well when you jump on a trend or talk about how outlandish something is, reacting to like what happened to Remix is one of our most popular episodes recently. So it's makes me happy that you can still make really good content and people appreciate it, because it's becoming ever more difficult to stand out in technical content when there's a lot of like it's just like YouTube. You're competing with absolutely everything. Like we compete with Mr. Beast. When somebody sits down on YouTube and wants to watch something, it's not just I want to watch some tech stuff. It's literally anything. How it's made. I want to watch how it's made instead of learn about JavaScript.